Maybe there's a really strong reason why you need to be in the gym. Also, you want to be there, but for whatever reason, you feel intimidated, and when you get to the gym, you don't know what to do. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beast of Burden. My name's Paul Bassett. I run Hounds of Health here in Wandsworth, London, helping regular gym goers get fit and healthy and start taking charge of their health. If you're a busy professional, if you're someone who's time poor, who's got a history of maybe not getting results, or you're getting results but you want to fast track and optimize your gains and the changes to your body, then you're in the right place. I'm going to be able to help you. I'm going to provide clarity. I'm going to give you some insight into how to think differently to elevate your results. But also, if you've not seen any results, I'm going to give you some ways of overcoming bad habits, give you the confidence to keep moving forwards. And perhaps if you want to work with us, then fantastic. We're here in Wandsworth, London, and we help hundreds of people each year change their life. And ultimately, I do believe we can change your life. If you follow the guidance that I give you and you implement it, whatever level you're at, you're going to see some massive, massive changes in your health outcomes, which, I don't know, it's going to make a big difference to you. So today, I wanted to go through some of the real common things that I hear when people first get in touch with me. One of which is they're too intimidated to go to the gym. They have maybe a membership, they're not using it. I spoke to someone yesterday who had a membership with Virgin Active, which is not far from us. They've had that membership for a year and they've been once. And when they did go, they felt really out of place. They felt quite intimidated by the environment. They went into the weights room. They certainly didn't know what to do when they were there. There was a lot of people who seemed to know what they're doing. And they're typically like 18-year-old men or men walking around, showing off their pump. They just felt intimidated and walked out. So perhaps you're the kind of person who has a gym membership and you go in there, you get on the treadmill, you think, maybe I'll just do 10 minutes on the treadmill and hope that by the end of the 10 minutes I'll be inspired, and you're not. And then you just leave. So it's just 10 minutes of walking, which you could have done on the streets anyway, and you pay for the pleasure. And I think it's pretty common. And I think it kind of creates an initial barrier to getting the results. And what I found is most people we work with in this gym, in this studio, actually really love training. They're actually pretty strong, and many of them have the perfect mindset to get a result. And many of our clients now have better technique than anyone you see in a commercial gym. But had they just been left to their own devices, and often that's, when they came to us, that's what they've been doing, they're in that situation of inaction, where they've decided that they don't like the gym, they're not a gym person, and they haven't gone to the gym for years. And obviously their results have suffered. So how do you go from being someone who doesn't like the gym, who feels intimidated by the gym, to being that person who's in control, who's actually pretty good at the lifts, and can start getting results? I think one of the things that one of the things to do is to characterize the difference between all the gyms that are out there. I mean, I may be trying to teach your grandma how to suck eggs here, but actually not all gyms are equal, and not all gyms serve the same purpose. And they shouldn't do, because there's lots of different people out there and they all have different needs. And I can't help everyone, and actually I don't want to help everyone. It's not that, I'm not a nice person. It's just that it's not my role to help every single person in their fitness journey. I'm here to find the people who need our services. And you may be one of those people, you may not be, but hopefully you can glean something off what I'm talking about. But the typical path for most people, and these are the parts of the industry with the most money, and probably the ones you've heard of most. These are the big chain gyms. They are big facilities, thousands of square feet, 5,000, 6,000 plus square feet, where you have an open plan, you have a collection of gym mats, dumbbells, free weight areas, you have classes that you have access to, and you also have loads of machines that you have access to. And you can go in there, many of these, they're budget gyms, they're anything from 25 quid all the way up to say 300 quid, like, David Lloyd. And you have up to 24-hour access depending on the brand. And they are big institutions with global, certainly national networks, and they have thousands upon thousands of members, not only across the board, they have them in each location. They can have many thousand people, and they have services that reflect that. So they try to give you everything. They give you access to cardio machines, they give you access to weight machines, they give you access to the kettlebells, dumbbells, a variety of other different strength apparatus. They also have a variety of classes at different times, and those classes can be anywhere from like 15 to 30 people. They have them at different times of day. You have booking systems, you also have a key card, and you can go in and do whatever you want whenever you want. Now, I did an episode called The Lone Wolf, which is one of the previous kind of on video, the ones that we didn't do on video that I've done on Spotify and iTunes, which I talk about the lone wolf journey, the journey of where someone says they can do everything themselves. And really those commercial gyms are perfect for that person. The person who wants to do everything themselves, all you need to do is turn up whenever you want, you've got access to the equipment you want, and great. However, and I'll get into the kind of the difference between these in a bit, but the other kind of gym is more like a big CrossFit box, or a larger facility which has maybe access to classes that are programmed to some degree. You'll be training with a group of 15 to 30 people. They don't really have the open gym access, or if they do, it's very specialized. It's maybe, as I said, CrossFit, it will be access to the Olympic weightlifting platforms, access to the general kind of pull-up bars and things like that. But it's a very limited remit that they have. The classes that they offer are very much about the intensity and the guidance there, but it's not as individualized, but it's certainly more structured. And there will be someone who's highly skilled, hopefully, who can walk around double checking everyone's form and give you some instruction rather than just leaving it up to you to come up with the exercises and the plan. And they also offer one-to-one tuition, no doubt. Many of these places also offer one-to-one. We'll get onto that in a second. I fall into the third category, which is we do a lot of what we call semi-private, which is small group training, where you're training with groups of, anywhere from like 5 to 8 people. Sometimes you get a little bit more, but these are highly structured classes in which you get the individual attention. You have the benefit of the flexibility of going whenever you want. So we have 35, 40 classes a week. You choose the time that works for you, and it's always going to be guided. The classes are smaller than those standard like CrossFit or High Rocks style kind of places, but at the same time you get a bit of flexibility that those places offer. But it's not open, so you can't just turn up whenever you want and do your own plan. Everything is guided. The only reason you'd be there is if we've allowed you to be there, and we're wanting to work with you, and we understand your goals as well. Whereas, pure gym, they just take on everyone. If you pay the money, you could buy access on their website. They don't do any curation beyond can you afford their monthly membership. Now, the next stage after that is one-to-one. Now, all of these areas, we offer one-to-one. There's lone wolf kind of personal trainers who operate in the bigger gyms. And then obviously, everyone may have an option where you can go and do some one-to-one sessions. I'll be honest, what we do, it's a very small part of what we do. And I actually think for most people, probably 95% of people, the small group or semi-private is going to work perfectly. And if not, it's going to be better for them, both in terms of the amount of time and the attention they're going to get, and certainly better value. So there's all these different places that you can go. And I think the thing is most people go, I need to go to the gym. They make a decision based on price, and they go for the one that they think can be sustainable. But as I mentioned earlier, there was a lady I spoke to who's spending about £100 a month on her Virgin Active membership, and had only gone once in the last 12 months. So she spent £1,000 for the most expensive day pass ever. And the thing is, cost is one metric, and we all have to make decisions based on our budget. We also have to make decisions based on the kind of results we want. Now, the reality is if you don't have the skill set, you've got to acquire the knowledge somewhere. And when you feel intimidated to go to the gym on your own, it is often because you don't know what you're doing. You don't have a history of success. No one's showed you what to do. And when you're there, you feel like a fish out of water, and therefore you feel confused about why you're even there. You don't feel like you're going to do anything, and it's a waste of your time. And really, I question whether or not that's a good choice to do. If you don't have the knowledge, which most people don't, because no one ever is going to teach you these things. You don't get taught these things at school. We certainly don't get taught them at university. And occasionally you have someone in your life who might have shown you that. So most people come in with a low knowledge base. So the open gym model is good because it can help you be flexible and it gives you access to these things, but it's not a place you get results. And if you're feeling demotivated because you're not getting results, I think you need to find somewhere where you have a culture that will raise the level of success, that's going to give you information, it's going to be quality information, and you can act upon that. Now, some people do better in large groups, some people just want to drift into the background and they don't need as much one-to-one support. And honestly, for those people, you don't want to do small group and you don't need to do one-to-one. But if you do want more direction and you want to take away that intimidation, you need someone who's going to teach you how to do things. And I think once you're taught how to do things, it's like going into your job with day one. Day one, it's intimidating. You don't know the systems, you don't know the computer systems, you don't know the people you're working with. It's a bit of fact finding, it's quite intimidating, but after a while, you're kind of like, as you know things, you can walk into your office every day and feel pretty confident. So it's the same with the gym. I want my clients to learn something when they're here. I want them to be here for a reason. I think it's very, very motivating to start understanding how your body moves, to be confident to lift weights safely. And that gains momentum and that gives you a reason to show up and enjoy it, but also takes away the intimidation, because you're around other people who are in that learning phase as well. You'll be around other people who've achieved results by going through the same process you are. And at the same time, as you gain that knowledge, you'll acquire confidence, and then that level of intimidation will go away. After a while, going to a commercial gym will just become a preference rather than something that's intimidating to you. If you've been taught right, then you go there and say, well, actually, I just don't like the environment. It's sweaty. There's a load of people huffing and puffing. There's guys just taking things off the things or being rude or whatever. And that becomes just a customer service issue. But once you've gone through a process that we offer and say a one-to-one coach would offer, going to a commercial gym would just be a choice of whether or not that's something you want to do, because you've acquired the skills. However, for most people, actually, if you don't enjoy the process of coming up with workouts, you want to turn your brain off and just get on with doing the work, then really I would question, like, you're either trading time, okay, or you're trading money. And if you're willing to give up your time, then go for a budget offer. If you want to be wise with your time and you want to make progress and you want to shorten the time it's going to take to do the work, shorten the time you need to invest in coming up with workouts, coming up with meal plans, coming up with all that stuff, so you can spend it elsewhere, then you've got to buy the leverage of a coach. And honestly, I know it feels like I don't want to spend money where I don't want to, but at the same time, like, we pay for a lawyer because they're an expert in their area. We don't suddenly have to go through law school to solve our problems. We just go, right, I'll speak to a lawyer. I'll speak to a plumber when they've got a major problem, because I don't want to have to work out via YouTube videos how to do my own plumbing. Remedial stuff we can do, but advanced stuff is more difficult. And so it's the same with your body. Acquire that skill, own it, earn it. And then once you've got the skill necessary, and look, you don't need to have the level of skill that an Olympic athlete would have. It's not, it's not like learning computer programming. It's not like trying to send someone to the moon. It's very simple, really, but it does require time. And actually, after a while, sometimes you just don't even want to have to deal with the programming side. You just want to turn up, get the work done and leave. And really a lot of our clients, because they're so busy in other areas, it's not of interest to them to become a personal trainer. So they'd rather just work with a personal trainer to come up with that plan and then just get on with it. So I think if you're intimidated, one of the things that we do is really take you through a process, and your first session is an onboarding one-to-one. This is where we're going to teach you how to do things, understand your goals, understand you as an individual, so that you come into your first class not completely overwhelmed by what you're going to do. Now, you are going to feel a little bit confused at times because you're learning something new, but you're going to come in and realize that everyone started in the same place. Everyone's gone through the same process. The coaches know who you are, and they can turn around and say, hey, you can back off here, that's fine. Or actually, I think you've got more in you. And that can be really, really comforting. And really, I believe that every person who sits in front of me has a skill set that maybe is untapped. And we just got to get it out of them and get them to believe that it's possible to get strong. And really, it's my job and my team's job as coaches is to allow that area of your life to grow and nurture it really, so that you start to believe it as well. And the proof will be in the work you do and the weights that you're lifting. And really, that doesn't lie. If the weights aren't getting heavier, you're not doing the work. Unless you've got an injury that we can't overcome. But if you're paying a little bit of attention for the 2 hours or 3 hours you're here, you're going to start making progress. So really, the key way to overcome a lack of knowledge and an intimidation in the gym is just to surround yourself with people who know what they're doing, have some structure, find the option that's right for you in the fitness space. If that's online, which I didn't really talk about, where you're getting access to someone's mind, but they won't necessarily be there to make the amendments. Or you could be in the big box gyms or one-to-one PT. There's an option for everyone depending on what your goals are. So the first thing I would say is make a decision that's right for you. But would it be a bad idea for you to go through your goals, come up with a plan, and then rather than trying to fit the plan to the gym you've chosen, find the gym that suits the plan. And I think you'll make much faster progress and it'll be much more enjoyable, and you'll go away from each session feeling like you actually did some work that counts. Anyway, until next week, please subscribe to this podcast. Please like us or subscribe on YouTube. And if you do think there's someone that might benefit from this, then just share the video, share the podcast, and grow this channel. So thanks again. I'll see you next week, and I hope that was of value.